Hello, today you join us in bed 1 and today we're looking to sow our carrots. If you're new to gardening and you've never sown carrots before, they're a great vegetable to actually grow. You simply cannot beat the taste of a carrot freshly pulled from the ground, and the smell is absolutely amazing. And as with all vegetables that you grow in your garden, you can also decide when you want to harvest them. So you can harvest them on the small side, and you can leave them to grow on and get a little bigger. We particularly like to harvest the summer harvest carrots on the small side because they do taste so much sweeter. It's a good time to sow carrots from now right into April to give you a harvest in about 12 weeks time. Now interestingly, if you look, this bed has received most of our homemade compost. You can see that it's not as fine as maybe one would like it to be. So what I have done is just put a layer of some compost that we bought in, just so that there's a nice smooth surface to sow the carrots into. And a note to oneself, I must try to get better at making my compost. So as I said, for early carrots, late March and through April is a good time to sow. That'll give you a harvest sometime around midsummer, and then from mid-June you sow your main crop carrot, and that will be ready for harvest sometime in October to November, taking you through winter. Indeed, last week we only just cleared our carrots that we sowed last June, and we've been enjoying them since October. But I needed to move those carrots now simply because I needed the ground to plant our potatoes. We've been very fortunate this year in that really the winter has been quite mild, so the carrots have stayed in the ground and been really good. But as I say, we've harvested the remaining ones now, and they've now gone into storage, and so that we can have carrots to eat until these become ready. Carrots are sown directly in the ground where they are going to harvest. They don't transplant very well. Now I know that I've seen some information where people have actually been experimenting with transplanting carrots, but we certainly have never had any success with that and find it better to sow directly into the ground. By the way, if you're wondering how carrots are going to grow in no-dig soil, because all the text that you read will tell you to dig the ground deeply so that, and remove any stones so that the carrot, the taproot can grow downwards. Well, it actually does work really well in no-dig soil. And if you want to see what those carrots can look like, then go find our playlist of harvests, and you'll see there are 1 or 2 videos there where we have pulled our carrots, and you can see just how great those carrots look. After you've sown your carrots and they've germinated, small seedlings are extremely vulnerable to slug attacks. So you need to be able to manage them through that. And by sowing at this time of the year, late March and into April, the soil is beginning to warm up. Slugs don't particularly like warm soil and they stay away from it, and will perhaps go after something where, like your brassicas, where they have rather large leaves and they can hide underneath them and munch on them when the soil is warm and the sun is shining. If you can get your seedlings through that to survive, well, then it's the dreaded carrot root fly that we have to look forward to. But more on that a bit later. Now I've made a drill with my dibber in the ground. It wants to be around about 1/2 inch deep. And the idea is, with early harvesting carrots, you're aiming to get something like 2 to 3 seeds per 1/2 inch. And then in a month or so's time, once they've germinated, thin those down to 2 per 1/2 inch. Now it's no mean feat to try and achieve that, and inevitably you probably will need to come and thin these carrots at some point. So it's a question of taking a pinch of seed, when you do come to thin, the green foliage that comes from the carrot top, that indeed smells of carrot, and that's what attracts the carrot root fly. Now we are sowing 3 varieties. We are sowing a variety called Berlicum, and that's new to us. We haven't sown that before, but we're going to give that a go. We're also sowing a variety called Little Finger. Again, that's new to us. And we're also sowing our old favourite, a carrot called Norwich, which is extremely appropriate as we live midway between the city of Norwich and the coastal town of Great Yarmouth. When you have sown your seed, you just need to lightly cover them over. Now, young carrots really suffer if your soil is weedy, and you can probably see here on film that I've actually spaced the rows at 8 inches, when if you read the seed packet it will tell you to leave a 12-inch gap between rows. Now that's to aid with weeding so that you can get a hode down the middle. But thanks to New Dig, we don't really see lots of weeds. So therefore, I'm able to get these rows a little closer, hence a more productive garden, and I can grow things and get more in the same space. So that's one of the great advantages of using the New Dig method. But if you're not New Dig, clearly the sowing times, they apply to you guys as well, but just leave the 12-inch gap so that you can get between the rows to hoe the weeds. Now if you've got to this time of the year and you find that your soil is particularly weedy, personally what I would do is to let the weeds germinate, and for the next few weeks keep hoeing them off until they've died, and then sow your carrots as a main crop carrot in June, because your carrots really will suffer if you've got weeds growing in between them. You know, they're a very, very tiny seedling for a long, long time. They don't start bulking up until probably a couple of months after they've been in the ground, and they'll just be overcome with weeds, shrivel and die. But also if there's weeds in the ground, they're bigger than the seedlings. Along comes Mr. Slug, he can hide under those and he can actually eat your seedlings. So that would be my advice anyway. Of course you can sow carrots in containers. They do work in containers, but they do need a certain depth. We don't particularly do that, so I'm no expert on that, but I'm pretty sure that you'll be able to find information about how to do that. That's our carrots sown for an early harvest, and we should be enjoying some lovely fresh carrots out of the ground. Now what I shall do, I'm going to cover these carrots, not because there's a danger of carrot fly at this moment. They haven't germinated yet, so the smell of fresh carrot is not in the air. But we have pets, and we actually have 2 cats, and they do like the soft soil, as you can imagine. We would love you to subscribe to our channel, so if you'd like to, please do so. The button is down below. And please leave us your comments. We always love getting your comments. Have you sowed your carrots yet? What's your method? Actually, do you actually sow yours in containers? Because I'd be interested to hear about that too. All things carrots, leave your comments in the comment box below. Take care, and we shall see you on the next video.